And good morning, good morning, good morning. It's Morning Joey, your host, me, Joey Molinaro. Tuesday, March 16th, 2021. Hope your day's off to a good start. Weather's super shitty here in Indianapolis. I hope it's a little bit better wherever you are. But if you're here in Indy, we're getting that last bit of just absolute bullshit weather that we have to get through before we make it to the other side. It's supposed to be nicer this weekend, but the weather right now, complete rain, cold, sadness, a lot like what's going on down in Bloomington right now. Or maybe it's not. Maybe people are happy about it. I said in my promo tweet, Purdue fans come laugh at IU fans' pain, IU fans come vent. And the way the last 4 or 5 years have gone for IU hoops with Archie Miller, maybe this is a good thing. Maybe Purdue fans should be the opposite. Maybe it should be the opposite. Maybe Purdue fans should be the ones feeling sad because Archie's gone, and IU fans should be the ones that are feeling like, hey, this is a good deal. We got rid of that little guy. Now we're ready to roll. I don't know. We're going to get into that. Zak Keefer from The Athletic, my guy. He mainly covers the Colts, but he's an IU guy, went to IU. He was in the documentary about Bob Knight. So he's connected down there, and we're going to see what he thinks, what's going to happen with the IU basketball program. I'm going to get your answers, your dream job guys, who you want to come coach at IU. Asked on Instagram, had a lot of responses, so we'll talk about that as well. A little free agency update, and then Indy Bar Madness. That's going on right now at Barstool Indy on Instagram and Twitter. Voting's going to start today, so me and my guy, Cam Parker, who runs the Barstool Indy account, doing a great job, came up with the idea since the tournament is in Indy and everybody's going to be coming here, might as well do something to where you can combine it all to where you say, hey, you look, the bracket's right there. There's 64 options and 4 different neighborhoods like I talked about last week. Why am I talking so much with my hands? The Italian in me coming out already. We got 4 regions with 64 teams. And Happy is here with me, of course. He already has separation anxiety, so that's good. If I leave the room for 2 seconds and shut the door to go do something in the bedroom, he already starts whining. So that's a great start. Hey, they say that dogs take on the personality of their owner. So not surprising there that my dog's got a little bit of anxiety, a little bit of a nervous wreck coming from me and his mama. Ain't that right, Bubba? Yeah, eat my jacket. That's good. Just no plant eating today, all right? Oh, here he comes. Yeah. Good boy. Oh, I made a mistake. He's coming to get me. He heard me talking shit, and he said, I'm going to come get you, man. This is great. Okay. Would it be funny? He takes on the personality of their owner. He just starts, like, doing voices and stuff. He starts barking like different dogs. Ow! So me and my co-host Happy, let's see what we got so far. Hey, let's go. Better LA. Brendan, good morning. Thanks for being with me, guys. You're in Milwaukee. Yeah, it's going to be shitty weather there. All right, let's get right to the man that I told you about, Zak Keefer from The Athletic. Zach, good morning. How are we feeling, my man? I'm doing well. I got my dog biting my hair and biting my hood and everything like that. But other than that, I'm well. How are you?
I'm good. Just dropped the girls off at school, and I have 8 hours to work, so it's good.
Perfect. All right. So let's just get into it, man. What is the latest down at IU? Obviously, Archie Miller's out. What do we think is going to happen with that with a new coaching job down there?
Can I talk as an alum, not as a journalist?
Absolutely. That's why I brought you on.
So I love that Scott Dolson. I love that the $10 million didn't matter, that he just called up a rich friend and took care of it. I hope I'm dead wrong about this hire because I loved the Archie hire 4 years ago, and I was horrendously wrong.
Why'd you love it? Why'd you love the Archie hire?
I thought he was going to win 20 games a year minimum, a couple Big Tens. I mean, all he did was win at Dayton. I thought it made all the sense. And they just became unwatchable. Like, I couldn't watch a game this year. I'm sure you've heard from a lot of fans in the same boat. Like, I got a text from a buddy who is as big of a fan I can imagine. And he said, I used to legit change my life to watch IU games. And this year, he's like, I watched 2 or 3 years after Christmas, 2 or 3 games after Christmas. He just couldn't watch it. They need to do something. Problem is, the candidates, Are you buying the Brad Stevens pipe dream? Because I'm not buying it.
No, I mean that's been it's like 4 years ago when we had the Alford kind of talk, right? And everybody thought, oh, this is the time, and it's coming, and it's going to happen. And I feel like Alford's just been replaced by Brad Stevens, So I feel like it's just, again, one of those, like you said, pipe dreams that everybody's always going to talk about, and the rumor mills and the blogs and everything are going to write about. But I mean, why? Like I don't know. It seems too good to be true, kind of.
Yeah, it's a pipe dream. I don't think Stevens has any interest in coming back to college. That's. I covered
the bullshit that he's dealing with in Boston. You don't think so?
Right. I don't think so. And I remember him saying something one time years ago. I did cover Butler for 1 year, and it was actually I covered him for 3 days before he left for the Celtics job. And he said, "I don't think I'd want to coach anywhere in college besides Butler." Now, maybe he was just saying that, but I don't see it. So then you look at the other guys, like, is it John Beilein because he's available? Is it Thad Matta? I see Thad Matta at Target like every other week. I think he lives in Indy and his daughter goes to Butler. Is it? So maybe I could put a word in for him.
I had no idea that he was back and just roaming the streets.
You never know the people you'll see at Target. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe Dane Fife. Maybe it's Dane Fife's chance. We know he wants the job.
I feel like that'd make more sense than like a John Beilein, right? I mean, Dane Fife's still young, still kind of has the energy. Hey, John Beilein, he's ancient, man. He can't keep up with the broadcast when he's on with CBS. Like
I know.
How long is he gonna be there?
He's 68. He's 68. And what Dolson, I watched the press conference yesterday, and Dolson made a really good point. I really liked this as an alum. He said, Indiana basketball has a great foundation. They have great resources. They have a great history. He basically said, we need to stop talking about that. We need to move on. I'm tired of people talking about the banners and the history and trying to live up to the expectations. I've watched this team for 30 years. That's how old I am. And they have disappointed me all but every single year. I mean, besides a couple runs with Crean to the Sweet 16, it's been disappointment. That's all it is. And in a miracle run in 2002.
Yeah.
And Archie couldn't even beat Purdue, and Butler's had their runs. They need to do something. And this is what Dolson said. He said, we need to find a guy that gets everyone excited about the future. Forget the past. Move on. It's over. It's a long time ago. It's like Nebraska football. You were really good in the 80s, but like it's done. I think Dolson gets that.
Do you think I've had a few people text me and said they'd sell their soul to the devil and get Rick Pitino to come here, and they're at the point where they don't give a shit what happens as long as they win basketball games. Any Pitino sightings down there?
Man, Pitino would win. Like, you got to take into account the fact that he's probably one of the best coaches of his generation. Now, there's some shady stuff that he's had to go through that he's been a part of. I don't see that happening. That just wouldn't sell. But at what point, and I had the same conversations with my friends, IU grads, like Scott Drew, not necessarily a super clean image, but the dude has won big at Baylor, and he's got a #1 seed, and he's got Indiana ties. He went to Butler. He grew up in Valpo. His dad was a coach at Valpo. That could be, he could be the leading candidate. It could happen. I could feel like that could be the one, as opposed to Beilein, who's, like you said, he's a grandpa right now. That doesn't mean he can't coach, but you want to give a guy a 6 or 7 year deal and build this program up. I don't know if Beilein's the guy that's going to do that into his 70s.
What about but he's done such a good job at Baylor, and he's got such a good thing going there. I mean, is IU still like that job? I mean, it's kind of the age-old sports talk radio question around where we're, in Indiana, of like, is IU still blue blood? Are they still a top-notch program? Like, and I'm getting into that. Would he be like, yeah, I have built this awesome thing at Baylor, and now I'm going to go to Bloomington where nobody can figure shit out down there? Like, does that, is it really that enticing to come back?
I don't think it's what it once was, to be completely honest. And look, you got to look at the situation. Like when you're a coach and you're evaluating it, unlimited budget, great recruiting in the state, tons of talent. You're going to have your pick among assistants. You're in the Big Ten. Kids want to go play in the Big Ten to get seen, to go to the NBA. but it's not the job it was 15, 20 years ago. I mean, this is going to tell us what it is, right? I think that whoever they land is going to be a pretty good barometer for where this program's at. And another guy that could be a really good tell of where they're at is Chris Beard. Like you just said, has a great thing at Texas Tech. He's winning. He's a guy who cut his teeth under Bob Knight for a long time in Lubbock, took the Red Raiders to the national championship game. I think it's a pretty big buyout. I think it's like $4.5 million annual salary. You know, IU's already on the hook for 10 for Archie. That's a huge financial commitment. I'm not saying Indiana can't do whatever it wants in terms of finances, but if you're Chris Beard, do you leave a good thing at Texas Tech to go to IU, which is a middle of the road Big Ten program right now?
Would Chris Beard bring back the red sweater, you think? Would he if since he's got the tutelage under Bob Knight, would he, first press conference come back and do that and then have everybody lose their fucking mind?
If he wins big, he can wear whatever he wants. I could guarantee you that. IU would not care. He would not care.
What who are the donors? Do you have any inside source there, or who do you think?
I think the obvious one's probably Mark Cuban. How nice is that if you're Scott Dolson and you go to the president of the university and say, I want to fire the basketball coach. Don't worry, it's not going to cost us a dime because I got this donor that's going to step in and give me $10 million. I mean,
who was I might have been Kravitz who he said something about how Mark Cuban, maybe he was just playing politics and he wasn't showing his hand, but I thought Cuban said, everybody wants to, if IU doesn't win a national championship, everybody wants the head coach out. Like, I fully support Archie Miller. So you think it really was him, or do you think he was just bullshitting there?
I think he's probably just saying nice things in public.
Yeah.
And I don't know for sure. Look, Scott Dolson, this is a key part of his job. He climbed the ranks at IU as a fundraiser. He knows all the donors. He knows them very closely. This was this was an impressive moment for him. The way he was able to handle this, get up someone on the phone and say, "Hey, I need to make this move, and I need you to help me do it." Not a bad gig if you're Archie Miller, though. You know what I mean? If you're going to get fired, you get $10 million to go with it. I need to get that in my contract too.
Dude, it's like it's like, I forget who I was talking. Some of these guaranteed contracts and stuff, whether it be in the NBA or the NFL. It's like you could be just completely awful, get booted, and you're walking away, and you never have to work again in your life. Like it's amazing. Do you think? Do you think IU has been cursed by Bobby Knight?
No.
There's no Bobby Knight. I know they brought him back and wheeled him out last year and had their whole thing and everything. But I mean, look, they had the run, as all the folks around here, when you're at any local pub, say, well, Mike Davis was one of the Bobby's players. That was their only run ever since Bobby Knight got let go, right? Is there something there? I mean, it seems like they can't figure it out ever since he's been gone.
All right, fair question. Is Indiana cursed? Man, I covered the teams that Crean had when they were rolling. And the first Sweet 16 team lost an NBA team in Kentucky, probably the best Kentucky team of all time. They put up 80 points on that team and gave them the toughest game they had the entire tournament. I covered the Syracuse loss, and that was just really bad coaching. And those were their best chances. I mean, that was it. In 30 years, those were their best runs besides the 0-2 team. I can't figure out. I mean, I think this is what they need to do. They need to hire someone. They need to think outside the box. They need to hire a less predictable candidate. Look at what Matt Painter's done in his time at Purdue. I mean, he gets criticized too, but he's going to go to the Sweet 16 for the 4th year in a row, I think.
No.
I mean, I think Indiana needs to surprise some people with this hire. And I think Olson's going to have the ability to do that. I think it's going to be his choice and not the board or not his athletic staff. But man, at this point, if you're seeing Indiana fans that are apathetic, that don't care, things are really wrong.
Yeah. When did you graduate from IU again? What year?
2008.
2008. Okay. All right. So 2000. So you were right there with the Kelvin Sampson, Eric Gordon stuff,
so,
right?
get this. This is a funny story. Kelvin Sampson's going to be in Bloomington this week, right? He's coaching the game in the tournament, right? First time he's been back since his last day in Bloomington. I spent that day trying to sneak into practice to see which players were practicing because a bunch of the players had boycotted the team, right?
Perfect.
There were 6 guys at practice, and I'm crawling around on my knees on the balcony of Assembly Hall trying to see which players are down there practicing. Was Eric Gord down there? Was DJ White? And there was only 6 of them because the rest were anti, they wanted to stay loyal to Sampson. So, and this is before Twitter. So I'm like sending text messages to my boss so he can update our blog. I mean, it seems like ancient times, but that was like a 12-hour day at Assembly Hall the day Kelvin Sampson took that buyout and disappeared. Good times.
You got to be careful up there in those Assembly Hall rafters, man. It's steep up there. That is
I know. And it's not a great seat. Like the little players down there were like ants, and these are like 6'8" guys. But,
right.
During journalism at its finest.
So during your time there, and then by the time you grad, I mean, like, they definitely weren't a football school. Basketball is still king, but now, I mean, I have people comment, and Kyle's, I was a football school now. I mean, did you ever think you'd see the day? It's pretty wild.
No, never. And they were rolling a little bit under Terry Hepner before he passed away. He got them going when I was there. That was a fun team to cover. But I don't think it's a football school. You got to give them a lot of credit for the way they've come along in football and become competitive. But when they start to fill Assembly Hall again, when it starts to get back to normal, you're not going to tell me that's not a basketball school. The best fans in the country, the coolest arena in the country to watch a game. I can't change on that.
What do you think about the candy stripes? I know you went there. Do you like them, or are you kind of like, all right, let's trash those?
Damn, good question. I don't. They're just kind of a part of the program. I've never loved them. I've never been a guy that's like, I got to go wear those to a game as a fan. It didn't feel right. I feel like if you're a player, that's cool, but
thank God. I feel like I have a fairly decent read on people, and I was hoping that you weren't a candy stripe wearer. So thank you.
Do we look down upon candy stripe wearers?
I think you nailed it. I think you said it perfectly. If you're the guy, and I guess if you're a student while you're doing it, school spirit, a little different. But I'm sure there's some dudes out there who a couple years after graduation, they're still throwing them on, going down to B-Town, and you're like, hey, guy, give it up. Just wear a pair of jeans.
Just slap on an IU polo. Let's act like adults. Right. Exactly. No, I know those people. I know them well.
There you go. All right. So at the end, how quickly do you think this is gonna? Is it gonna be a long searching process? What do you think?
Don't you think because Jolson made the move yesterday, he's got a list? I mean, anyone in his shoes, anyone who knows what they're doing, has a list of guys he's going to call. He's got probably 5 or 6 names. He's going to have to reach out to their agents, depending on whether they're in the tournament, whether they're in the NBA. You don't make the move without a list of what the next step is. I think it's middle of next week we might have an answer. These things might happen quickly, and if you get a guy that's number 1 or number 2 are on your list, you interview him a couple times, it doesn't take that long. But I'm the worst at predicting coaching hires. I took the Butler beat at the Star, sat down with Brad Stevens on a Monday. We had a great talk, 3 hours. I was like, I can't wait to cover this guy. He's smart. He's fascinating. He's successful. 3 days later, boom, he's going to the Celtics. So I joke with him to this day, like, man, I must have really made a terrible impression on you if you had to get out of town as soon as I took over the beat. But everything with the Celtics was already in line when I took over. But I missed it. I missed it. I was a little bit late on the Brad Stevens train at Butler.
So you think, that's another reason why that pipe dream of Stevens won't happen, just because he's still coaching the Celtics and they want to hire by, next week or the week after?
Yeah. I'm not going to sit here and say I know Brad Stevens really well, but I did have some long talks with him when he was the Butler coach and then when he became the Celtics coach. And the vibe I got was Indiana was not in his future. That was the vibe I got. I could be totally wrong, but it didn't seem like a move that he was yearning for. You know what I mean? Like, I know there's a connection. He loved Bob Knight growing up. Everybody in the state loved Bob Knight growing up. He has a pretty good relationship with Knight. He's given speeches with him. I feel like I don't want to get the fans' hopes up. I don't think it's going to happen.
Right. That's fair. Keeping it real. All right. A couple before I let you go. Let's say next week at this time, Tuesday or Wednesday. I know you said you're terrible at predicting coaches, but who your gut of guts you say is going to be, putting on the cream and crimson next week?
I was just asked this at my daughter's daycare, and I didn't have an answer. So I would, who I would be most excited about is Chris Beard. And I know it's probably not going to happen because of logistics and money, but that dude would win here. He would win. He can get an exciting team. And another thing Dolson said yesterday was, we want to have a team that players want to come to play for because we're playing the new style of basketball. That tells you something, right? Because what we just watched was shit. I mean, it was terrible.
Yeah.
Like, it was boring, and it was like I didn't even like watching it.
Yeah.
Even with Crean's teams, when they struggled, they would run up and down the floor and dunk it and put points up. Archie's teams were unwatchable. So that's what I pray for. Is Parker Mosley an option? He made the run. Loyola Chicago.
Oh,
he made the run. I mean, he would be a surprise young. But look, he's got a good team this year. They went to the Final Four a couple of years ago.
Bring Sister Jean down,
I mean, you don't think she would be welcomed in this state? Gosh, I don't know. I really think it's like you can make an argument like 20% there's a chance this guy gets it, 20% this guy gets it. I don't know.
Okay, so you're leaning Chris Beard. You want Chris Beard.
Yeah.
But you don't know. Okay. All right. I wouldn't be able to let you go here without asking a couple Colts questions. For those watching, Zach with The Athletic covers the Colts, very in-depth beat writer there for them, covering all things Indianapolis Colts. Free agency starting, quiet day, pretty typical on Monday for the Colts. What are we thinking is going to come up here on Tuesday or Wednesday from Chris Ballard?
Yeah, they'll sign someone, I would imagine. They'll sign a pass rusher. A lot of people are getting a little antsy. A lot of fans out there are getting mad, even though we told you this was how it's going to go.
Every year, yep.
Every year, the smart ones know it. They were in on some guys yesterday, but they really just draw their line in the sand. They don't cross it. But look, you got to go get a pass rusher. Like, you need one. You don't have one. We'll see. But I know they're working, and they've got a couple decisions to make on their own guys. They got a couple restricted guys they need to decide on by tomorrow. But at what point do the fans start to lose their minds because the Colts haven't done anything? That's really where we're at right now.
T.Y. Hilton coming back or no?
Gun to my head, I think so. I think the Colts would meet the price. I think they have a lot of value in him, and I think he can still play. Like, you need him. With a new quarterback coming in, you need a guy like T.Y. There's a big value in that, I think. I think he comes back.
There's a lot of other receivers out there. I mean, Kenny Golladay, Juju Smith-Schuster, any guys like that could pop up here in Indy?
Well, you got to think about the Colts' history. Are they going to pay someone $16, $17 million a year like Golladay is going to want? I don't think so. Now, I'm not saying he wouldn't be great here, and I'm not saying I wouldn't love it because it'd be an awesome deep threat for Carson Wentz, but they spend their money on the lines. I know it's not sexy, it's not exciting, but they spend their money on the O-line and the D-line. And very rarely do they splurge at a skill position player.
Well, shit. With I tweeted yesterday with Tennessee getting my guy Bud Dupree. I mean, they better figure out left tackle and quick, man. He'll fucking wreck a game coming off that edge. So.
Yep, and I think they're going to have a rookie on him. I think they're going to have to draft a rookie. The Colts are, and they're going to have to stop. I mean, not just Dupree, but they got. I mean, Tennessee's front. Now they got Autry, and they got Justin Simmons. I mean.
Yeah,
that's already a physical team, a really physical team, and the Colts can hold their own. They got some big guys up front too, but don't think the Colts are overlooking that. They saw what Tennessee did.
Zach, tell everybody where they can find your work, where to follow you, and what you're working on right now, my man.
Yeah, easy to find at The Athletic over there with Holder and Kravitz at Twitter at Zak Keefer. Send me your free agency thoughts. I got a bunch of them yesterday. And we'll see what happens today. But working on some big stuff. Got some time with the owner recently, Jim Irsay, to talk about some fascinating stuff. He just fascinates me. He's just an interesting guy. And we had a really good conversation.
You're talking Jimmy from the Colts, right?
Old Jimmy from the Colts. Can we just keep that going forever? Jimmy from the Colts. Yeah, look for that in like the next month or so. But a really interesting angle on Jim and his life.
Awesome, man. Hey, good luck with Chris Beard. We'll cross our fingers for you and the Hoosiers down there. I appreciate you waking up with me, dude.
Hey, thanks, man. Have a good one, Joey.
All right, that's Zak Keefer from The Athletic, doing really good stories. I mean, he done a story on me that I appreciate, but he does not only does he cover the Colts, on the field, but he covers them off the field. Great stories about, like you said, Jim Irsay coming up, Chris Ballard, a few different guys. I think Darius Leonard and kind of the struggles of him growing up in South Carolina and things like that. So I mean, just awesome stuff from Zach. He's a staple here in Indianapolis, where I cut my teeth and came up. So great to be able to talk to him. It's funny, him and Stephen Holder and Mike Wells, they're kind of the big dogs. They're the Athletic and the ESPN dudes. So when we'd be on the sideline at training camp and stuff, I was always like, I don't know if I should go talk to them. Like, they're kind of exclusive in their club. So appreciate him coming on, and just a good dude, man. Hopefully it works out for IU and what they want down there. Chris Beard, I got a lot of those, and the question I put out last night on Instagram. And let's get to it. Let's see what the followers are wanting for the next coach at IU. I mean, Archie's out. It's the biggest story in the state. My home state, biggest story in the state right now. Anytime there's a vacancy, head coaching vacancy in basketball at IU, it doesn't matter how shitty the program is, it's going to take over. All right, so let's get to it. See what we got. I posted, IU fans, who do you want to be the next coach? For real, because you always get the jokesters in there. Who do you want to be? So let's take a look. I've got a couple John Beilines or Beeline, and like I talked about with Zach, I don't know about that. He's, like Zach said, he's 68 years old. He's I watch him on CBS, and I'm just like, how is this guy going to corral and rally up groups of 16, 17, 18-year-olds in recruiting and then get them to I don't know, man. I think they're past that. And who knows? I mean, the guy could turn 70 and fucking say, you know what, I'm kind of tired, I don't want to do this anymore. Man, I don't know. I'm not an IU guy, I'm a Purdue guy. So honestly, if that's the case and it puts him more in turmoil and 2 years down the road, then fine by me. But I'm trying to look at it through the cream and the crimson and the IU fans that are in this chat, that are watching this, that are hitting me up online. I don't know if you'd want John Beilein, Eric Musselman from Samuel Dave. He's the Arkansas head coach. And, I know Arkansas had their run back in the 90s when Bill Clinton was, becoming president and everything. But for me, at least, when I think of Arkansas, when I think of Arkansas, I don't really know what I think of. I guess Bill Clinton. Like, I don't think of a basketball. I really don't think of football anymore. They're kind of just there. I think of like Darren McFadden and Felix Jones back in the day when I was in middle school. Run DMC. Man, he was good there. But yeah, I definitely don't think about basketball. Maybe Jerry Jones. Jerry Jones or Bill Clinton is what I think of when I think of Arkansas, really. So. But hey, man, Eric Musselman, he's done it to where people are thinking of. Let's look him up. When they are thinking of Arkansas, Arkansas basketball. Yeah, I mean, Eric Musselman, Moose, 22-6, second in the SEC. I mean, Razorbacks are rolling, dude. So. But again, any guy, that's where it's like any guy who's established at a program right now that has gotten Arkansas where they are, that has gotten Texas Tech where they are, that has gotten Baylor where they are. I'm just sitting there looking and I'm like, man, unless those heartstrings are really tugging to get you to go back to Bloomington or to say, you know what, man, they really buy that pitch of if I go to Bloomington and I make them a winner again, I'll be a legend and I'll be remembered forever, and we'll be back to the Blue Bloods. Unless they buy that pitch and buy it well, then I don't see a guy like Chris Beard from Texas Tech. I don't see a guy like Drew from Baylor going there. I wouldn't. That's stressful, man. Poor little Archie just got chewed up and spit out. 4 years not going to the tournament. 4 years not beating Purdue. That's rough, man. Tim Allen should coach the basketball team. You mean Tom Allen? Yeah. I thought about that. I'm like, obviously it's not going to happen, but what's the worst that can happen? He turned their football program around. He's got a lot of energy. Who the hell knows? From Red Hawk 22, UNC Greensboro head coach. The dude kills it and is only 38 years old. Young guy, smaller school, bring him in. I don't know, man. It's just a tough spot for IU. It really is. And it's good but what's interesting is that it's just that classic saying of like, it's better when IU is better. And when I say it's, I mean like the state. I mean college basketball, like even as a Purdue guy, like it's funny to see IU suck, but at the same time, it makes it better when they're good, the energy, the excitement when you got like the I-65 South rivalry going on, or you're going up to Purdue and it's like two good teams bashing, and then you're down there at Assembly Hall doing the same thing, like I guess you can never get tired of winning, but Purdue's beat them 9 straight times. Man, you're kind of like, all right, guys, like Dickie V said, it's not even a rivalry anymore. It's a mismatch. So I don't know. Max McCarthy, Musselman from Arkansas, and then a couple injuries. Mark Few from Gonzaga, or Tony Bennett from Virginia. Maybe if they're looking for a change, maybe if they're looking for a new challenge, a new chapter in their life, again. But, Mark Few's been number 1 seed, I feel like, for every year the last, 15 years with Gonzaga. And Tony Bennett just won a national championship at Virginia. They're still defending national champions. Yeah, a lot of Brad Stevens. He still got Steve Alford here. James Shea, Steve Alford. I don't know if that'll ever go away. I don't know if that'll ever go away. Just like Zach said, this is from Joe Porter Moser. And for those who, it sounds familiar, and it's because he's with Loyola Chicago, or Loyola Illinois, the one that made the Final Four run a few years ago with Sister Jean. Young guy, again, could come down. Hopefully Assembly Hall is Sister Jean accessible, and they could get her down there in a good spot on the baseline or something. Delivery Man says Brad Stevens or Dane Fife, only 2 options. Yeah, again, Brad Stevens just not gonna happen. And Dane Fife, I like that. Played there, was on their last Final Four team. He's been in the coaching ranks for a long time, at a big program, learning from a guy like Tom Izzo. It makes sense, right? It makes sense. I vote Dane Fife. Make the shirts. I vote Dane Fife. From Nate, if Nick Saban was courting Brad Stevens to coach at IU, what would he say? Well, Nate, he'd probably say, look, I don't know what's going on at Indiana. I know I have a football program to run, and I went from the Dolphins to Alabama, so I made the pro transition to the college one. So you can do it too. Now, I didn't have any success. You've had more success with the Celtics than I had with the Dolphins. So you going from there to Indiana could be even better than me going from Miami to Alabama. But that's not my worry. That's not my concern. I got a program to run. So I can't comment on what everybody else is doing. What I'm trying to take care of my team. All right. Probably something like that. Bobby Knight, obvious choice. Insert 4,000 Brad Stevens answers. Not that bad. Patino, David Bailey. Yeah, right. Thomas Klein. Johnson. David Heckman, Chris Beard, Jamie Dixon. There's just, so there's a bunch of different guys that people want. Some are even saying Dan Dockett should come back. Thanks, Katie. Thanks, Andrew. Dan Dockett should come back and coach at IU. That'd be pretty funny, right? Just to see him rip the blogger boys in the media in his post game press conference. I don't know, man. Blogger boys, you don't know. You don't know. Look, here's the deal. Everybody wants these blogger boys. From Drew, what about another former player, Calvert Chaney? H. Lewis, yeah, I mean, you like John Beeline, that's fine. I don't like John Beeline, but what do I know? From Tone 8706, Thad Matta, Butler guy, former Butler guy. Zach just confirmed. Apparently, he is around town in Indy. His daughter goes to Butler. He's just been hanging out. Maybe give him a call. More Fife. And surprisingly, a good amount of Slick Rick Pitino. Like I said, I got a couple texts yesterday, and one literally said, I don't care what it is. I'll sell my soul. If we have to bring in Rick Pitino to win basketball games, I'm at that point. That's where the fan base is at. Slick Rick, bring him with his white suit, all the baggage, bring him in. Don't bring in his son. Son just got fired from Minnesota. Don't bring in his son. Don't do that. So I don't know. We're going to see. Zak Keefer from The Athletic said earlier that maybe next week, middle of next week, he thinks that there'll probably be something there because he said that he fired Archie right away. So he has to have his guys. He has to have his options ready to go. When I say he, I'm talking about Dolson, the AD. So we're going to see. It's going to be interesting to follow. That's for sure. That's for sure. Let's get into Indy Bar Madness. So this is what's going on. I've had a lot of people ask me past month or so, definitely the last few weeks, my DMs on Instagram and Twitter. Hey, man, coming to Indy for the tournament. I'm here in Indy for the tournament, Big Ten tournament. What's some good places to hit? What should I do? Where should I go to drink? Where should I go to eat? So me and Cam Parker, the guy who runs Barstool Indy, which you should follow, Instagram and Twitter, at Barstool Indy, put together a bracket. 64 options of bars that mostly have food too in the 4 different regions like I talked about. You got Meridian, Georgia Street, Fountain Square, Mass Ave, and Broad Ripple. 4 different neighborhoods that you can go and have a good time in right in Indianapolis, downtown Indianapolis, or just outside, but still within the city limits, right? So we put those together, and here's what we got. I don't know if you can see that. I hope you can. But you're looking at it, you got Mass Ave, Meridian, Georgia Street, Fountain Square, Broad Ripple, like I said. The 1 seeds, Mass Ave, Rathskeller, Meridian and Georgia Street Brothers, which was a little contentious with some. Fountain Square is the Dugout, the number 1 seed there, and then Broad Ripple, the number 1 seed is Connor's Pub. Now, out of all 4 of the regions, I'm least familiar with Broad Ripple. I've been out there. I know a little bit. I know the main spots, but I'm the least familiar with Broad Ripple. But I mean, it's strong. This is a strong bracket. 64 options. Everybody always wants to say there's nothing to do in Indianapolis. Look at this bracket right now. So go to Barstool Indy on Instagram and Twitter. Drop in your Final Four predictions. Comment on it. Fill out the whole thing if you want. I'm going to fill out the whole thing after the show and put mine out. And there's some strong seeds here. There's some strong places, A lot of people were saying Taxman at 15 down there in Meridian, Georgia Street. Yep. Selection, the selection committee saw that one as, it's kind of newer, not as familiar. And the location of it makes it tough because you have to stay at Taxman. You can't go to other places. You know what I mean? So location, I think, brought that one down a little bit. Also, there was contention with, like I said, Brothers over Kilroy's on Meridian, Georgia Street. I will say what goes into that one. Brothers is a bigger space. It has a bigger outdoor space. And it has the mix of a sports bar, but also a little bit of a nightclub. So I think with the regulations, we should be good. But you can go there, you can watch the game, and then right next to you, you can have people dancing on the dance floor with that kind of music. Those 3 or 4 things put brothers over the Sav. Yeah, Sub-Zero, the 16 seed. It's an ice cream bar. So, getting around it a little bit there, going around some technicalities. But Sub-Zero, ice cream bar, they're going to lose anyways because they're playing Rathskelly. They're 16 seed, for God's sake. What else? Yeah, Goodfellas on Mass Ave, a 12 seed. It's a 12 seed because it's a speakeasy. So in the Wise Guys Lounge in the back, it's a some people were upset about like the Ale Emporium not being included on the list, and I said that it's not a part of the city limits. Like there wasn't. It's in Greenwood. It's not in Indy. Doesn't matter how good it is. If that's the case, you put Harry's Chocolate Shop up there, or, whatever's down in Bloomington that you like. They're not in Indianapolis. It's Indy Bar Madness. That's where the main part of the tournament is taking over. So, people had problems with that, but that's just not going to be included because it's not within one of these 4 regions. Mass Ave, Meridian, Georgia Street, Broad Ripple, Fountain Square. Connor's Pub's a little bit of an upset at number 1 in Broad Ripple. I personally would have gone probably Broad Ripple Tavern or Old Pros Table, but I sent it to some of my buddies who are experts in the Broad Ripple region. They put Connor's Pub number 1, so I trusted their expertise. I like Fountain Square, Upland number 2. That one is very, very nice. Strong seed there. Going to advance probably pretty far, I would say. So you take all these things into consideration. You take not only the neighborhood they're located in, but what they're located next to, what the scene is like inside and outside, prices, what their food's like. All these things go into consideration when we were making this. We don't mess around. The selection committee was very serious about this. It was. So go out there to Barstool Indy on Instagram, Barstool Indy on Twitter, and make your votes. Make them happen. Put in your final 4. Get into it with other people. I want to see some debate happening. People are very passionate about this in the Indy area. If you're not from the Indy area, use this as an example of what you can do while you're here in town. Any of these places, you see them, look them up. You know where the neighborhood is. You know what the street they're off of now. Whatever you like, go for it. One last thing. On Mass Ave, Brewburger, pretty low just because they got limited bar space. It's mostly a restaurant with drinks rather than a bar with food. You know what I mean? Like, people go there for the food, and then, like, they have the bar where they can get a drink, whereas the Dugout, I feel like you go there for beers, and it's like, oh, also we have pub food. So there you go. Fill that out. Barstool Indy. Follow along. Voting is going to happen today. It's starting today. On Twitter and Instagram, we're going to go by region, right? So, we'll start with, for example, Mass Ave, and then we'll have the matchups there, and then we'll go throughout the day, and then we'll figure out who the people of Indy or Indiana, or if you just want to vote because you've been here and you like them, do that as well. Figure out what you guys like. So the Bachelor finale was last night. Did anybody tell Matt what the show's about? I'm sitting here watching this guy, and for the last 3 weeks, he's just talking about a lot of processing, and he doesn't know, and he got commitment issues, and I'm like, you knew what this was, right? And I know it's called The Bachelor. So did you think that, like, you just come on there and you get to do fun Bachelor stuff, like it's a bachelor party, and then you don't gotta, be married at the end of it? It's just interesting because when you watch it from the start, right, first week of January all the way to now, you're expecting, something to happen. And stuff did happen, but what I'm saying is you're expecting like the end result to be like, oh, we watched it all the way through and this is what happens. And they were together, and they're not together, whatever. And it just ended off last night where he was like, yeah, I don't want to propose. Okay, why hasn't everybody else done that? I legitimately didn't know. I thought like, no, if you're on the show, at the end, you have to pick somebody. And whether it works out, that's not their problem. But like for TV purposes, you got to pick somebody. You got to propose. You got to make it happen. And just let them walk. And then, after the final row, Emmanuel Acho was so good, man. I mean, he was like on some Oprah shit. Like he was just like getting into it and the interview style, and he was hitting the questions right. My guy. It was awesome. It really was. But I mean, with these shows, you just know that like people are gaming the system kind of now. Like I feel like when the show first started and there wasn't social media and the internet as much, where they'd go on there and it's like, yeah, they kind of maybe were fine. I feel like now people like Kit from this season, they've gamed the system where they know like, all right, if I get on there, I know that I'm using that as an avenue for my life and my career. Like if I get on there, if I stay for a little bit, if I make a name, then people go follow me on Instagram and like start watching my YouTube channel and blah, blah, blah. Then I'm good to go. I'm not committed to anybody. I've got to deal with a messy breakup or divorce and I'm set. Now I'm an influencer. So I don't really know. You could never really buy into the show before, right? Because it's reality television, obviously. But now it just is like, all right. The guys who are getting on there when it's the Bachelorette, now they all have a podcast and their podcast is successful because they were on the Bachelor for a month or the Bachelorette for a month and it didn't work out, but they got fans now and they kind of game the system is what it is. That's fine. I was just kind of like, hey guys, what are we doing here? Andrew, speaking of shows you're going to watch with the missus, Behind Her Eyes on Netflix, wild ending. I already watched it. I mean, hey, you want to talk about surprise endings? That was a surprise, friends. I definitely 1,000% did not see that one coming. And apparently, I don't know, my younger sister, my wife was kind of telling me that it's like real, like that can kind of happen, or people think that can happen. Like I don't want to spoil it for people who are going to watch it, but you're right. It was a quick watch. It was an intense watch. Good watch, but I don't know how I felt about the ending. It was definitely, I didn't expect it, but it was just really sad and creepy. And it kind of felt unresolved. I don't know. But it was a good show. I started Murder of the Mormons last night. Murder at the Mormons or whatever that is on Netflix. I don't know. I can't really tell if I'm getting into it or not, but I'm trying, man. Look at my dog. He's sleeping now. What a good co-host. I'm going to remove this. Look at that guy. So cute. Right? NFL free agency popped off yesterday. My guy Bud Dupree signed with the Titans. Big money. I think he's getting something like $38 million guaranteed. So good for him. No, I will miss him coming off the edge. I think Alex Highsmith will do a good job for the Steelers. But damn, he turned into a hell of a player his last 2 years there, and he got paid, rightfully so. The Patriots, too. I mean, every time I refresh Twitter, somebody was going to the Patriots. No, I still don't know if Cam Newton's going to be the right guy to re-sign and make that happen. But at least they're trying to get him some more weapons. Matt Judon, who we had on Going Deep this week. That's up on YouTube now. Going Deep. Matt Judon, we talked to him for 30 minutes. He signed with the Pats. He was a prized, free agency signing, so he signed with them. Juju Smith-Schuster's still out there. I doubt he won't sign with the Colts because that's just not the kind of guy that the Colts sign, and he'll be way too much money for them as well on top of that. But I thought it was interesting that the Jets signed Corey Davis yesterday. So now they got Corey Davis and Denzel Mims. It's like everybody kind of thought that he'd go to the Jets, and they go and sign Corey Davis. Now I know that Corey Davis is more of an outside guy, and Juju is an inside kind of guy. But still, are they going to drop big money on two receivers? They probably need to because they haven't got shit else to throw to. So we'll see. I wonder if he gets signed today. That's kind of my big watch. Now that Bud Dupree has been signed, my next thing is Juju for sure. Katie, I kind of talked about it. Did I miss Bachelor recap talk? We were just talking about it a little bit and how like I feel like Matt didn't like nobody told him what the show was about. Or like, hey, you're going to be the Bachelor, and the goal is to propose at the end of the show. Felt like there's a few things the producers could have asked him. Could have asked a lot of people, but I feel like there's a few things the producers could have asked him before they or the bigwigs made that decision. Hey, do you want to get married or no? Because if not, that's cool. But that's kind of the point of the show. But I watched after the final rose last night, and I watched Matt on Good Morning America today. He knows his way around the mic, man. He does. He can answer questions without answering them. He can dance around them. I mean, he's good. He's a smooth operator for sure. So I wonder what he's going to do next. You know, it's always like Ben Higgins, the guy from Indiana who was a Bachelor. Him and his chick didn't work out, but he still like throws out the first pitch at Indians games and stuff, like Indianapolis Indians. And, you know, he'll be like at the Indy 500 and shit. Like, I was like 6 years ago, I feel like, or whatever, that he was a Bachelor. He's not even with the lady anymore, but he's just still like Ben Higgins, the Bachelor. You know? So I wonder what Matt James is going to do. I saw that he was like an entrepreneur and like a real estate broker before The Bachelor. Business should be all right for him there. I don't know. But yeah, now we're bouncing from The Bachelor to Juju Smith-Schuster. Maybe Juju would go on The Bachelor. He'd be a good Bachelor. That'd be entertaining. More athlete crossover. That'd be really entertaining, actually. Put Juju on The Bachelor. He's already got a huge brand. People would watch that like crazy. You know, fun guy. Entertaining dude. Good around the camera, obviously. So I don't know if he's going to sign with the Jets now, though. Maybe he could go to the Giants, another New York team, the Raiders, the Dolphins. I don't know what's going to happen with Juju. Maybe he resigns in Pittsburgh. But that's what I'm going to be watching for. I wouldn't expect him to because he said that he's not going. I mean, he voted that's a negative on that Sports Illustrated poll, so likely not to. But, hey, I didn't think that the Steelers were going to sign Cam Sutton either. Apparently, the Bengals are after Mike Hilton, which would really suck. And if that's the case, then hopefully the Steelers can steal back William Jackson III after the Bengals did that to him in the 2016 draft. Bengals drafted the pick before the Steelers. The Steelers were going to pick William Jackson III. They took him, and then the Steelers got stuck with Artie Burns. That didn't work out. So if Hilton signs with the Bengals, then maybe we'll get our original guy from 5 years ago. That wouldn't be too bad. But they signed Cam Sutton, which I was really excited about. So, you know, could be worse. Daniel Jeremiah just tweeted, 3 names I'm curious to follow today. Hunter Henry, the tight end, Curtis Samuel, the wide receiver, and Shaq Griffin, the corner from Seattle. No Juju on there, unless I missed it, and he already signed somewhere. I don't know. Tomorrow's St. Patty's Day, though. Weird day, right in the middle on a Wednesday. Yeah, I'm interested to see what it's like tomorrow. I think the weather's supposed to be better than this crap here in Indy that we got. It's still just like I can't even see outside my window because it's so rainy. But I'm going to be here with you guys 9 to 10. And, so that's not going to change my schedule St. Patty's Day. But I'm wondering what kind of people, if people are taking off, if people are, taking a half day to go out and celebrate a little bit on a Wednesday. I think I might try to get Brianna chicken fry on tomorrow. she's kind of known for being the hungover degenerate at Barstool and really just on the internet. So we talked to her about a day like St. Patty's Day. It's kind of her day. You know what I mean? Just drinking and having fun. I got my celebrations out over the weekend. Like I said, had the girl who said, "You're like literally 8 years older than me," to my face. And then the guy who was trying to kick me out from the place when I was just standing there because he was doing a citizen's arrest and thought that he was, big macho man. So I doubt I'm going to be celebrating tomorrow publicly or this weekend because I already did. And I only have one green thing. Well, I guess this is green. I got a green jacket. Gold jacket, green jacket, who gives a shit? Movie guy, yeah! But I only got one green jacket so I could wear every year on St. Patty's Day. And that's the move. Get your one green item. I don't look good in green typically. Get your one green item. Have it for St. Patty's Day. Bring it out every single year. That's how it works. So we'll talk about that tomorrow. Remember, Barstool Indy. Go follow, vote, comment your Final Four on the Indy Bar Madness that's going on right now. Tomorrow I'm going to try to get Brianna Chicken Fry on. We'll talk a little St. Patty's, have some fun, maybe even have an early morning drink. So bring a coffee and maybe a drink for it to celebrate some St. Patty's. Keep an eye on free agency. See what happens with Juju Smith-Schuster. Congrats to Bud Dupree on signing with the Titans. Always remember, subscribe to the channel. We're growing. Daily show. You know where to find me every single day, baby. We're having fun. Indy Insanity merch, Cup of Joey merch. Hey, I got the mug right here. It's a great mug. People keep tagging me in it. They're buying it. Look at this. Nice design, very solid mug material. Can't figure out which way the camera's going. Get that, only $10. And then Cup of Joey dad hat as well. All of that in the description below. Subscribe to the channel. Have a great Tuesday. And I'll talk to you tomorrow, live at 9, guys.